Take 622.
It's not.
Are you ready? We're ready to throw it back.
It's been 9 seasons of the Inside Track on Making House Home.
You've learned how to build wealth,
How to navigate the ebbs and flows of the real estate market
how to create a healthy home.
while becoming part of a community.
We've helped over 2,380 families through the seasons of their lives, ensuring their home was more than just shelter from the weather.
It was shelter to weather the storms of life.
It's exciting to continue on the journey with you.
Get ready to enjoy this episode
As it's one of our favorite episodes, hand-selected from the last 9 seasons to take you back before we take you forward into the new Life's Inside Track on February 5th. Have you ever heard you are what you eat?
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.
Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Decker team. I'm Yetta Decker.
I'm Ken Decker.
And I'm Leah Dixon.
And we're so excited to have you back to another episode where we're going to be able to, as always, gather ideas, thoughts, techniques, and tools that we all need, we all deserve, you, I, everyone, to turn our house into our home where our families thrive and we live the best life possible.
Yeah, so, right, Leah? You are what you eat?
Actually, Ken, I would say you're not necessarily what you eat, you're what you absorb. You can eat a lot of different types of foods, but if you're not absorbing them, how can they become part of who you are?
So that's perfect. So I can eat like potato chips and they'll just go right through me. I won't absorb them?
If only it worked that way.
Oh.
If we had a little switch on our bodies that said absorb this and don't absorb this, that would be wonderful.
So the mind can't control?
I
like
wish
that?
it could. It would be nice.
So for our lovely listeners, Leah is a realtor on the Decker team.
Yes,
And you have some expertise in the area of nutrition.
I do. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist.
So she is here to be confrontational with Ken
Nice.
and with me. I think I'm going to sit on the sidelines and watch the show. And I just thought I would sit on the sidelines and watch the show with you. Yeah, with you.
I don't think it'll be confrontational, more educational.
Educational? Okay. So Ken, are you going to retract your statement then that you are what you eat?
No, because I still believe that to a point, because she just said I can not decide that I'm not going to absorb the potato chips. So if I eat potato chips, then I'm going to look like a potato chip.
Okay, where do we even go with this, Leah?
I don't even know where to go with that.
Neither do I. So the point is that we are all uniquely.
We are all biologically unique.
Yeah.
So even though during this show we may talk in generalities about nutrition and different foods, we have to keep in mind that everybody is unique. And what works for one person and what's healthy for one person may not be healthy for someone else.
Right. Now, there are some generalities. We can say fried food, probably as a whole.
For sure. There's some broad general statements that are going to apply to pretty much everybody, and that's one of them.
Even to Ken.
Even to Ken. Yes. Imagine that.
So potato chips?
Uh-huh. How about French fries?
Any processed food in general, fried food, things like that, it really comes down to common sense. I think most people have a pretty good idea of what a good diet looks like.
Yeah, you know what I find is it goes down really nicely and the taste is really good. It must be that kind of burnt carcinogenic oil that makes the French fry crispy. But then I also noticed that half an hour for the next 4 hours, I'm sluggish.
You definitely pay for it
So
when you eat something that's not good for you.
Right. So if I listen to my body, then my body's telling me that's not a good thing to eat.
Yes. And it's so important to listen to your body. A lot of people find it's much easier to know what their body is affected by keeping a food diary. And nutritionists will tell you it's so important to keep a food diary because you can say, okay, you know, my diet was this and that yesterday, and
I
today
could
I
never
feel
do
horrible,
that.
but you can't pinpoint. You couldn't keep a food diary?
No,
I
because
bet you could.
Yetta would read it. And then I'd be in trouble.
Well, if you'd be in
That's all
trouble
true.
over what you ate, then
Yes.
maybe you should consider changing what you eat.
Well, I'm kind of like on the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time I'm with Yetta and I eat well. And 20% of the time I'm not with Yetta and I eat poorly.
Okay. And how do you feel that 20% of the time?
Worse,
Right.
but
Is it worth it?
indulgent. Sometimes it is.
Sometimes. And so you're right. Sometimes it is. We have to give ourselves, cut ourselves a little bit of slack sometimes. And it's great to have a wonderful overall healthy diet, but to have a special treat once in a while if you like.
Now, there's an
chocolate.
interest. I'm going to be controversial.
Okay.
Confrontational, I
Okay.
guess. Because Yetta and I were talking about this. And why do we call something that's bad for you a treat? Why don't we call a treat a nice orange or some fresh organic grapes or some organic raspberries or strawberries? Or
True.
that's a treat.
Yes.
The other is harmful. So what could we call something that we like to eat but don't call it a treat?
I
Any
think,
thoughts?
well, we could choose to move the word treat to what really is a treat for our bodies, a treat for our mind, a treat for our being, rather than only a treat for our taste buds. Or maybe it's a treat for my childhood memories, because many of those things that I would call a treat, like cotton candy, here at Confessions 101,
Oh, I love it.
Tootsie Rolls, things like that, that's part of my childhood.
Exactly. And I think that's what it comes down to. Many people as children, we're taught that, okay, if you're good, you'll get this treat. And the treat is a chocolate bar or a bag of chips or something that's unhealthy. It's considered a treat because it's not something that you have all the time. It's something that you have occasionally. But you can just reframe the way you view the word. You're
Well,
right. It's if you
yeah.
look at it as a treat for your taste buds, it's very different than a treat for your body, for nourishing your body.
And even a treat for your mind.
right.
Like, because when we talk body, we're talking from the tips of your toes to the top of your hair, because it even affects your hair.
Everything is connected. It's what you eat is connected to your mental well-being.
She
as
keeps
well.
telling me that's why I have gray hair.
And your hair is
Because I
thinning.
what I eat or don't eat.
Right.
She's probably right.
So I think this is an interesting thing. Share your thoughts, like on what's a reframe for the word treat when it's good for our being, but maybe, and it's not even that raspberries taste bad for our taste buds. They
Oh, they're
taste great
awesome.
on our taste buds. Cherries and
Well, when our grandkids come, I make sure there's raspberries, blueberries, bananas, oranges, grapes, and apples, because if we don't have chocolate bars and chips and things in the house, or don't hide them, we hide them up in the top cupboard.
for you.
For me, the odd time.
Well, you better hope they don't watch the show now, because now they know where your hiding place
Oh,
is.
well, they can't reach it.
Okay.
And
They can climb.
but it's amazing to watch the fruit disappear. If you take it out, wash it, clean it, put it in a bowl, it's gone. Right. And it's a treat. It's a treat to the taste buds. Recently, I was sick, and I really noticed that I had cravings for fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, and they tasted so sweet. It was unbelievably sweet because I wasn't eating anything junky.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, your taste buds change. If you're used to eating junk all the time, that's what you're going to crave, and that's what's going to taste good to you. If you don't, if you haven't had chocolate for a long time, if you haven't had chips, if you haven't had all of these junk foods, and then you try them again, they often taste a lot sweeter than how you remember them. And things like fruits and vegetables taste sweeter than you remember them as well, because you're not bombarding your taste buds with
Even
all
when
the
I
sugars.
don't put salad dressing on a salad and have lots of vegetables in there, and like the sweet peppers, and everything it's flavorful, especially if you throw some seeds and stuff on it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that the first wealth is health, and what we eat really will help determine that. Not only what we eat, but that's certainly a good piece of it. So we're grateful that we get to grow wealth in real estate and in our beings with you.
Moving forward with the Decker Team. Moving forward together with the Decker Team.
Have you ever considered a plant-based diet? I'm struggling on the words because I have recently considered it. Until then, I had absolutely not considered it. So I'm still getting used to rolling over my tongue.
Moving forward with the Decker Team. Moving forward together with the Decker Team.
We've created for you at the Decker Team access to over 403 free episodes of the Inside Track. Everything to do with selling and buying real estate, and then really how to thrive in life, making house home, simply whole living, and building wealth, which feels kind of awesome, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now, when you say, have I ever considered a plant-based diet? I struggled with that because I am a meat lover and like vegetables, plant-based things are the food for my food. and so the vegetarians eat my food's food. and really though, I always felt like a meal wasn't complete unless there was meat in it.
Right.
I always said that to you.
I know you did
And
for
then-
40 years.
And then I listened to a 17-hour book called How Not to Die from whether it be cancer, stroke,
Diabetes.
heart disease, diabetes, boom, 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 boom. And his solution for everything was
A plant-based diet.
exactly.
So Leah is a bit of a, you have more knowledge than the average bear.
I did study nutrition for a couple of years
Yeah.
at the Canadian School
Bear.
of Natural Nutrition. Yes.
By the way, is a bear a vegetarian? Or? I don't think so. They do eat berries.
Yes, they do. So we thought, as Leah's a realtor on the team, she knows her real estate, can help you with selling and buying, and knows a whole lot about health and food. We thought Ken and I dare not, even if this is a general show, not get too involved in this topic without some support.
Yeah. So what's some myths and misconceptions around a plant-based diet?
Well, one of the biggest myths, and I'm sure you know what it is, when someone says to you, hey, I'm a vegetarian, what's the first question that pops into your mind?
What kind of vegetarian?
Or where do you get your protein?
Yes, that is
Oh.
the big question.
Don't
Where do you
vegetables have protein in them?
They do, but not
See?
everybody knows that. So typically,
Legumes have tons of protein
yes,
in
they
them.
absolutely do.
You did some reading. Ken did some reading and prep for this show. No,
Like
for life itself.
chickpeas and beans and lentils.
That's right.
Full of protein.
Yes,
And
they
yet, you're
are.
right. That is the question I asked for several decades. How do you get your protein, Leah?
So I've been a vegetarian for about 25 years now.
I know. I've known you the whole time.
Yes, I know. And over those years, that is probably the number one question that I'm asked. Well, where do you get your protein? So you're right, Ken. There's protein in so many different foods, in vegetables,
I thought it was in cheese nachos.
well, yes.
Okay, let's not go down that road either. Because we talked about it in another episode or another segment that some things we can't absorb.
That's right.
And we can't absorb a lot of what is in our dairy products.
That's correct.
So,
Yes.
sorry,
So
Ken.
then is it harmful if you can't absorb it? Doesn't it just go whoosh right through so I can enjoy the taste?
Not necessarily.
No?
There are a lot of other things that dairy does to you too, but that's for a whole other show.
Okay.
I could talk for
All right.
hours.
So let me ask you a question about plant-based cheese.
Okay, so like the faux cheese that they
Yeah,
have
like
out now?
if you go
Yeah, it's
to
not really cheese at all.
you know, if
is
you go
it?
to the health food store, pizza, and they have
health food store
yeah.
pizza. I just got that now, and it's like, what?
but they have a pepperoni pizza that's got a cauliflower base crust. It has artificial meat. Why do they make artificial meat look like meat if you don't want to eat meat? That's what I want to know. and then it has plant-based cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, and I haven't tasted it yet. I haven't had the courage.
The one at Pizza actually isn't too bad. There,
Told you it was a health food store.
so there are some faux cheeses out there that are really nasty. They truly are. They don't taste anything like cheese whatsoever. They don't melt well. And then there are some cheeses that are fantastic, especially some of the newer ones that they're
Faux
coming out with.
cheese.
Faux cheese.
It's like faux leather.
Sort of like that, yes. Only
So-
you can eat it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, we didn't want to eat vinyl.
but I'm not even talking about taste. Like, even if it tasted like saran wrap, what does it do for your body? Is it healthy to have faux cheese and faux turkey and faux bacon and all these things that are made out of some plants to feel and taste and even texture in your mouth to feel like meat?
Unfortunately, the answer to that isn't as easy as you'd think
Ah.
because it really depends on the product. There are a lot of products out there that are faux meats or cheeses that have nasty ingredients. Like you'll find the sodium's really high in a lot of them, or they have different types of oils or different things that you just don't want to have in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have some products that are better. The Beyond products right now are a lot better than many of the other
The Beyond
meats.
Meat meats
Yes.
that aren't meat.
Right. And they're not soy either. A lot of them are soy based, and some people are a little scared of soy because
Especially
of the
the modified.
phytoestrogens that are in it.
Is that what grows
genetically modified soy.
breasts? Yes.
Well, that's a bit controversial.
we are going to be assured
it
on
was
these 3
controversial.
episodes we're going to stay controversial. There is just no if, ands, or buts. So what is the biggest myth beyond that there is not enough protein in the right vegetables?
I think the next biggest myth is that it's difficult. It's really not difficult to follow a plant-based diet. There's many different forms or variations of plant-based diets. You can be a vegan, a vegetarian, a lacto-ovo vegetarian, a pescatarian. Pescatarian also includes fish. So I guess even though it's considered plant-based, there's still some...
Well, I don't agree with that.
Ken,
But
do
that's
you
just
need
me.
to be disagreeable today?
Yes, that's the show. It's all about
That's
Ken and
okay.
his disagreeableness.
That's good.
So what's this new keto vegetarian thingy?
Well, keto was a thing. Well, still is a thing for a lot of people.
High
And
fat, lots of meat.
exactly. And so a lot of the basis for the keto diet really has some merit. And so there are some vegetarians out there who say, hey, I'd like to participate in this keto diet thing, but I don't want to eat meat. So there's a whole new group of people that call themselves ketotarians, and they follow a keto diet minus the meat.
Wow.
So there's so many different things. And really, once you've made the decision that that's what you want to do, that's truly the hardest part, is making the decision about what you want to do and how you're going to follow through.
Here's that big D decide
The big D
again.
decision. That's right. So once you've made that, it's fairly easy to do. So many people nowadays are going plant-based. There's recipes everywhere you look out on the internet. There's information everywhere. There's wonderful shows on Netflix, documentaries about nutrition and plant-based diets. The most recent one is Game Changers, and it's fantastic.
Game changers.
Yes.
There's also, I think, a movement of bodybuilders that are plant-based bodybuilders.
Oh, absolutely. There are so many people. And if you were to watch Game Changers, it highlights a lot of those. The strongest man in the world, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, is a vegan. There are people who have been in the Olympics in various different, some are runners, some are cyclists, some are swimmers, and they've been vegan or plant-based.
Well, the biggest animals in the world are vegetarians, right?
Absolutely.
So bottom line is, what's the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen? Let your food be your medicine, because then you're going to need to take a whole lot less medicine that doesn't really help your body. So we're grateful that we get to grow wealth through real estate with you.
Moving forward with the Decker Team. Moving forward together with the Decker Team.
Okay, this is one of them shows that is going all kinds of weird places. Leah has confessed that she is a vegetarian. Ken has confessed that he's a contrarian. And I'm just a bystander.
I thought you were a pescatarian.
I am.
Moving forward with the Decker Team. Moving forward together with the Decker Team.
Oh,
Yetta, when are you ever a bystander?
So we are so grateful that we at the Decker Team have had the opportunity to thrive alongside you. Not only buying and selling real estate for over 30 years, in addition to that, actually thriving in life, building wealth, getting our lives together, even relationally, doing a better job. And that's why we can have so much fun on the air now, because you're either going to like us or not. And it really is about being true.
Yep.
And including what we eat. How do you be true to what you eat and make sure what you eat actually helps your being and makes you the best version of yourself, even if it's a contrarian?
Now, what am I supposed to say to that? So I think part of the hiccup is sometimes we think that vegetables have a lot of poisons on them. I'm throwing a loop in here because, there's pesticides and what's the other thing they put on?
Herbicides.
Herbicides.
Yeah.
One kills other plants and one kills bugs and animals,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Yeah. And then we eat that stuff. And what's that do to us?
Well, unless you eat organic. So if you can choose organic fruits and vegetables, or better yet, grow your own, then you avoid getting the herbicides and the pesticides.
I think grow your own would be a wiser choice, because what I'm hearing is that there isn't the regulation on organic foods. And they say certified, but maybe they're not. And maybe there's a farm across the road that's spraying herbicides that are getting over onto the organic side. Or there's different regulations on how far away an organic farm has to be from other chemical things. You
really never know what you're getting. So you're right. It's best to be able to grow your own food.
And do they, this is a good question, maybe you don't know it. In an organic farm, do they use manure as a fertilizer?
That's a good question. I don't have the answer. I don't know what they use in
That's
in
a good question. We'll have to talk to Dr. Google about that.
That's right.
Because it's interesting.
Or if you know the answer, why don't you tell us the anser?
Why don't you text Jetta?
Text Jetta, because she's not getting a word in edgewise on this show anyway. So I'd like to be talking to you. If you could text me right now, I would have the availability to connect with you, assuredly.
I just want to say, for the people who don't have the opportunity to be able to grow their own fruits and vegetables, and maybe organic fruits and vegetables tend to be a little more expensive.
A lot.
Okay, a lot more expensive. So not
Unless
everybody
maybe you've
can
got a
afford
good
to
place
do
to
that.
buy them. Where do you get affordable organic produce?
Well, the grocery stores typically now will have a good section, depending on which grocery store you go to, but a lot of them have fairly sizable sections of organic fruits and vegetables now.
I'm finding even Costco has more and more. Now, I know we want to stay away from the processed foods, but when I go for a processed food, like a chip, like not even a potato chip, but a oven-baked pea-based cauliflower chip, because I like chips. Usually they're non-MGO, they might be organic sourced foods that the chip is made out of. And I know processed is much worse than fresh, whole foods, but it's better than nothing, I think.
You whispered that, better than nothing. It's actually not better than nothing. It's actually hurting you.
Oh, come on. But I use that chip to take my organic hummus and use it as a vehicle to get it in my mouth. Does that count for something?
That counts for something, Ken.
It counts for something.
I do use vegetables sometimes to get the hummus into my mouth too. So yeah. So the question is, Costco's got more of that. Costco's got some, they'll have organic strawberries and regular strawberries, and I just look at it and I go, okay, well, $2 more, $3 more, it's worth it. And then the grandkids come and eat it, and I go, well, I guess it's better for them too.
That's right. Better for everybody.
It's just a harder pill to swallow when they eat it and I don't.
What is that saying about you? Contrarian.
Yeah. It's good.
There are some fruits and vegetables where it makes a big difference to go organic, and others not so much. So
I
and
heard
you
that
can-
about bananas.
Exactly.
And
Bananas is one of
avocados.
yes.
Thick skin stuff.
Right.
That doesn't get in quite as easily.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Eating local is very important too. It takes a lot. Typically, when fruits and vegetables have to travel a long distance, I mean, obviously there's the environmental impact of that as well. But when they have to travel long distances, they have to pick them before they're even ripe. And then they have the time to get here, and you don't know how long they're sitting on the shelves in the grocery store. So if you have somebody local, if you can't grow it yourself and you know somebody who locally does and you can connect with them, that's great. There are delivery services in the area as well. People who have very large gardens who will deliver to your home on a weekly basis, fresh organic vegetables.
Cool. And I've heard you should eat the rainbow, like Skittles.
Absolutely. Okay, not Skittles.
Oh, not Skittles? It's a rainbow?
But colorful foods. Absolutely. Eat as many colors as you can. Each color has different nutrients, different phytonutrients.
Colorful,
that do
fresh food.
Yes.
Ah.
Fresh.
Yes.
Is green colorful?
Skittles don't count.
Green is good, right?
Yeah, green's good.
Oh, absolutely. Red, orange, yellow, green, purple. Yeah.
Okay. So we eat things, Leah, that aren't always great for us. It's not the best
What do you
decision.
mean we?
We, as in generally, I'm including the royal we, saying I eat things that aren't necessarily the best for me. And there's a triad of reasons.
There is.
So why do I eat what I know I should not eat?
Number one, you eat for pleasure. So something that tastes good to you is something you're going to reach for. A lot of people do a lot of emotional eating as well. They connect certain foods to their childhood.
Certain memories.
I have comfort foods.
Yes. Right. So number one is pleasure. Number two is to avoid pain. So if there's a food that you really dislike, or some people don't like textures, right? There are certain textures of food that really
I did
turn
a
them
bad
off.
thing. I have a grandson. Didn't want to eat a certain food.
Uh-oh.
Chili.
I worked on chili was the food.
Forced
Don't
them
like
to.
the texture. I did force him to. We all wore it.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, I've never done that again. I learned my lesson. It was quite a few years ago, but
He don't eat chili when he comes
he don't
over.
eat chili. I don't even offer it to him anymore.
Oh, boy.
It was not a nice thing to do.
So
So,
I'm gonna-
texture
so-
can do it, right?
It can.
So I'm going to avoid the pain of something I don't like, or maybe I even have somewhat of an allergic reaction to it, a sensitivity to that food,
Right.
so I'll avoid it.
Correct.
Pleasure, and what's the third?
The third is we want to do what's easiest. So
Fast food,
whatever
here we
is
come
the
when I'm
least
hungry.
amount of effort, right? So there have been so many times when my kids will come home and they're hungry. They open the fridge and say, "Mom, we don't have any food. We only have ingredients." Yes, a little bit of effort sometimes has to go into eating properly, unless you want to just grab a pepper and start munching on that or something like that.
I do
But-
that, as long as I got hummus.
well, that's true, yes. But oftentimes it takes a little bit of prep work. And if you've got, ready-made processed food sitting there that you can just grab and go, oftentimes that's what people will do. They'll go for the easiest.
So
So the
bottom
moral
line-
of the moral of this story is
Go eat healthy.
go eat healthy.
Go eat healthy. Figure out what is healthy for you and for your body, and then simply make a choice. And then when you're stuck, call Ken, because he'll be your contrarian and help you along the journey. We're grateful to be your partners, because together we've got this.
Moving forward with the Decker Team. Moving forward together with the Decker Team.
Make sure to mark your calendars to join us on February 5th as we continue to move forward on the new
Life's Inside Track.